Hello, good afternoon, and welcome to this Monday edition of the Kop update on the LFC Daytrippers. I'm Gav, and I'm with you for the next 30 minutes or so to talk all things LFC. The Liverpool squad have trained this morning, and it looks like a fully fit squad, as Ali A points out. What's for Dinner has just posted a shamrock. Is he telling us he's Irish? I'm not too sure. Garrett McDonald this afternoon, all 1 down, 14 to go, up the Reds. Another 3 points ticked off on Tuesday. Another 3 points ticked off. Bring on Tuesday. Then the Loud Neighbours. Emma Cavan is in. Ash McCall is in. What's for Dinner says this is a nice treat. I'm trying my best. I'm being pulled from pillar to post during the week, but I'm trying my best to do these shows. But look, as always, if you're in here and you're watching and you like it, hit the like button. Subscribe if you want to. Share across your social media if you want to. But most of all, any thoughts, anything you've seen, anything you want me to talk about, throw it into the comments there, and we'll sort it out over the next 25 to 30 minutes. So let me see. There's loads of people in. Kevin Ball, Andy O'Chill, Curtis is in. Daniel Dawson is in. Good to have you back at 2, says Daniel. As I said, if it's always something gets me where I have to be pulled away at 1 o'clock or 1:30, or I won't make it back by 2, but I'm trying my absolute best to be with you here. And listen, there doesn't be an awful lot going on, but I like coming on and chatting with you, and you do see stuff that I don't see or haven't come across, and as I said, throw it in and we'll talk about it. I have LFC TV on at the moment. Looks like the squad have gone through training, and you know something, fully fit squad Ali A mentioned earlier. It's unbelievable to have everyone back. You know, Naby Keita, the last update we got from Klopp was that he took a knock going back a little while ago. He was back training for 1, maybe 2 days, felt it again, was taken out of the firing line for Watford, and he seems to be back as well. So we were trying to quickly last night on the Fat Back 4, which was a brilliant show last night, by the way. Really enjoyed it. Go and check it out if you haven't already. It's available on YouTube, and it's available across all your podcast apps as well. But we are trying to do some team predictions, and Naby didn't really come into the reckoning because he was considered out, but back in training today, so we will travel with the squad, which is really good, and that might be an option in midfield, because I think most people feel that Fabinho and Henderson will start that last places, or Fabinho, Thiago will start, Henderson most likely to start as well. But when you have Keita, it's Harvey Elliott's 19th birthday today as well, isn't it? So he's an option. Ox is an option. Jones is an option. Milner could be an option. Depends on where you want to approach this game. So to have everyone fit, and then all the lads up front are fit, everyone at the back is fit. Joe Gomez coming at the weekend done really well. Will again be pushing probably to play tomorrow night, or looking for a centre half spot. So the competition is unbelievable in the squad at the minute, but it also gives us these options going forward, you know, so it's really, really good. Darren says Gav is the new Goldbridge. Not a chance. Not having that for a second. Klopp's presser is about to start. I'll try to listen to both, says Antio. If you're listening to both and he says anything that's out of the ordinary or any updates, feel free to throw them in here. I'll read them out and we can have a little discussion about them. Rest Hendo looked a bit leggy at the weekend, says Darren. I agree with you, Darren, but it's a European away, and I think it could go the other way where he considers Fabinho and Henderson absolutes, and then he looks at someone on the left of that tree. Thiago is the standout, and people are saying to rest for City, but it's a 5-day break. The City, in fairness, you know, they'll play tomorrow night in Portugal, and then they will literally be back that night. They'll have a recuperation day tomorrow, and they'll be back on a Thursday, Friday, and something maybe on Saturday before we play Sunday. So there's plenty. This is probably one of the bigger breaks we have. Most of them look like 3 days. This is one of the bigger ones in 5 days. What do you think about the Gnabry rumours? Would add quality to us, as Garrett McDonald. I'll get to that in a second, Garrett. Hey Gav, great day and great time to be a Red. Let's just enjoy the ride. First and foremost, cups and leagues a bonus, says Mickey. Yeah, absolutely. Enjoy every minute. I met down the shops earlier, met a guy, a United fan. I know him from local, and he was saying big game Sunday, you know, blah blah blah, and I was saying, yeah, there's a few Liverpool fans nervous, and he was like, no, just go for everything and see what comes out. You might come out with none of the three, you might come out with three. You never know. Wonder if he risks starting Trent tomorrow. I think if Trent gets 30 minutes, he should be okay to start City game. I'm not sure he does. I think he might look to bring him on to give him some minutes, Kevin. And you've said it there, 30 minutes, he should be okay. I think I'd agree with you fully on that. I think bringing him fresh off a bit of an injury that he recovered from during the international break might be a bit of a risk. But then again, he could look the other way and say, I'll give him 60 and put Joe Gomez in there for the last 30. But it'll all depend how the game's going. We can't take this too lightly. You know, a lot of people seem to feel that we could go out and finish this tie off tomorrow night. And there is comparisons to Porto and Sporting Lisbon and where Benfica are in their league and stuff like that. But it's still a European Cup quarter-final. And all you want is to be in it come the 90 minutes being finished tomorrow and come back to Anfield next week. But don't get me wrong, I'm not saying we couldn't go and finish this tie tomorrow. It's well within our capabilities, but we still have to take it as serious as any other game. Louis van Gaal, prostate cancer, says Ali. Yeah, that was on the Fatback 4 last night. Very sad news, but I have read that the recovery from that is quite high. I'm no expert on cancer and recovery rates and treatments and stuff like that. I just know it's very serious, and as I said last night, I'll say it again, we all wish Louis van Gaal a speedy recovery and a full recovery if possible. Klopp just said he's happy with most contracts, but there's nothing new to say. There you go. We were talking about this last night as well. A journalist that has been on LFC TV on the press box, I think is the name of the show, written the same story across 3 publications, I think, over the weekend, that came out yesterday. But there you go, Klopp is saying that happy everything there, nothing new to say. So we're still at the same impasse, which makes the most sense at the moment, I think, because you probably see more people saying more if anything had really happened. Thoughts on Salah coming off the bench on the hour depending on the scoreline, says Ben. I think Salah absolutely starts. I don't think there's any way he doesn't. He's an like, I get all this, you know, we've so many games, and I think there's possible 15 games left or whatever it might be, right? I get all that, and I get the fact that, you know, we're trying to manage a squad and stuff like that, but this is a European Cup quarter-final, and it doesn't matter whether it's Benfica or Real Madrid. It's a European Cup quarter-final away from home in a first leg. We need to go out and put as strong as we can out there. Now that might contradict a bit what I'm saying about Trent, but Trent's coming off an injury. You know, I just can't see a way. I just cannot see a way where Mo Salah doesn't start this game tomorrow. Emmett says, Klopp says full squad available. Quarters was only a small knock from the weekend. Kevin says Gomez has shown he can do a solid job at right back, so we should definitely do the 460. Yeah, it could be that and it could be reversed. So we'll have to wait and see. Give the like button a bash, says the Reclaimer. Yeah, go and do that as well if you can. By all means, hit a subscribe, share, you know the usual. Go fast for 60, go 3 up, change the team and finish the tie, says Ash McCall. Nice and confident there. Back to Gnabry though. Somebody mentioned Gnabry. Out of contract next year, I think. A lot of rumour around some Bayern players like Lewandowski possibly going to Barcelona. But these always come out through international breaks, and I don't know, do you take them with a massive pinch of salt? I think you kind of do. Serge Gnabry is a fantastic footballer. I think he's electric. I really, really do. Listen, would Liverpool look at Serge Gnabry? I think they might. I think he's the style of player he is, and not only that, the calibre where he was coming from after playing for Bayern for probably the last 3-4 years maybe. It could be a little bit less, could be a little bit more than that. I haven't followed his career in massive detail. I do know that Tony Pulis told me he wasn't good enough for West Brom, I think, which just makes that quite funny now. But he is the style of player. You know, he's quick, he's strong, he's a finisher. He can play wide, he can do anything across the front three really. But I'm not too sure on the rumour. He's out of contract next summer, and usually when the player's out of contract in 18 months' time, and you see them being linked with different teams, it's a game being played. We're seeing it with Mo Salah. Mo Salah's being linked with fucking everybody, but nothing's happened. Klopp has literally come out in a press conference and said nothing new on Mo Salah's contract stuff. Nothing has changed, and Klopp is quite comfortable with it. So there you go. Klopp on Salah, says Kev O'Sullivan. The decisive parties are talking to each other, and that's all I need. So talks apparently, if you listen to certain people a week ago, have broken down since December, and they weren't signing anything and all that sort of stuff. The decisive parties are talking to each other. So you can take that as they definitely broke down and they're back talking, or they never broke down and they were always in contact. So take whatever way you want. Think Mo's form is exhaustion related. Give him a break, in my opinion, says Daniel Dawson. Yeah, but this is where we were talking about the 5 subs last night. 5 subs are huge. Like you could like go back to Kevin Ball, and he says there, Trent 60 minutes. You could do Salah 60. You could literally pick 5 players in that team where you go, right, okay, Matip, Trent, Fabinho, Thiago, Salah, and you say, right, they're all playing, and they're going to play 60. And if we're 2-0 up, great. If we're drawing 0-0, we're still doing it. We're making the changes on 60. We're protecting them. We're bringing on fresh legs, which we believe, because we can see our squad depth now. Because if you were to make those 5 subs, you would look at Kanate, Gomez, Keita, you know, Milner, and Jota, Firmino, Diaz, whoever doesn't start coming on the pitch. So there's still plenty of quality there. I get the thing over Mo Salah. I don't think it's exhaustion. I think mentally, the African nations and then not qualifying for the World Cup, it hasn't been the best of, couple of months for Mo Salah. I don't think it's physical, because he's an absolute machine. But this is where the 5 subs comes in for me, and you can literally say, right, bang, 5 are playing, but them 5 are coming off on 60, 65 at a stretch, and we're bringing on these players, and we're going to, I'm not saying make 5 subs at the one time, but I'm saying you could make 1 at half time, you could make 2 on 60, 2 on 70, and you could still play your game. Kev says, sounds positive on Salah's talks. Listen, the decisive parties are speaking to each other. That's all the Klopp needs. That's it. That's the end of it. That's the end of it. And I keep saying this, until somebody comes out and says he's signing that deal or he's definitely not signing that deal. We can talk about it, don't get me wrong, but we're going off no information. No information. And don't pretend that stuff you read is information. It's not. It's clickbait. That's all it is. It's clickbait to drag people in and start up some sort of fucking, mayhem somewhere. Klopp has spoken on it. That's all you want. Because if Klopp told you tomorrow that Mo Salah was signing a new contract, would you believe him? Yeah, that's it. He said he's signing. We don't need to know anymore. So if he's telling you that they're talking, and leave it at that. Gav, says Antio, thoughts on the rumours Milner might leave in the summer. He's played a lot less football this year, James Milner, and I'm saying that without the stats in front of me. He could have played the same amount of games this season as he has last. I don't think he has. For me, I'd love him to stay at the club. I think his role is reduced from last year. It was probably reduced on the year before, and this year again, and next year would reduce again. But to have him around, I think is brilliant. I think his professionalism is brilliant. His attitude, the levels he expects. And I'm not saying James Milner turns out and plays 30 games or appears in 30 games for Liverpool next season. But if the club could do something with him, where he's playing, he's happy with the contract he's on, and he's happy with the role, great. But then again, James Milner still sees himself as super fit, and he might go off and do a year or two somewhere else. Maybe somewhere in the Premier League, maybe somewhere in the Championship, maybe back to Leeds. We've seen those rumours. But whatever James Milner decides, it'd be brilliant to keep him. I would be a little bit upset if we lost him, because keeping him doesn't mean he's a first team starter all the time. Doesn't mean that. But to lose him for what he brings around the club, I think would be a loss. But you'd have to turn around and say, you know what, thanks a million for everything. He's 7 years at Liverpool now, and he's won more or less everything with them, and he's been I think he's been brilliant from the time he's come in right till now, and he's gone through some tough times, especially early days with Brendan Rodgers, but he's found himself covering at left back for Jurgen Klopp. He's found himself running hard in midfield, holding midfield. He'll do left back, he'll do right back for you. I think he's absolutely I think he's the ultimate professional, and I don't like getting dragged into, but what does he do for you? And I'm going to go, I'm not getting into that argument, because you could have that over any player really, bar the absolute elite. So Darren says, best man to see out a game. I love him as a first sub, really do. I love him as a sub if we're losing, because he'll dive into tackles, he'll cover, he'll do all that sort of stuff, and he'll allow you to push on. If you're winning, he covers space, he works so hard, he helps fullbacks. He's not there to control and absolutely, I suppose, influence the game on the ball in a massive way, where he'll come on and score, get 2 assists. He's there to help others go and influence the game. So, yeah, I really liked James Milner, I have to say. 5 subs, Gabs. How about Burnley with a free weekend, supposed to gain an advantage over teams that have played in St. Petersburg during the week, says Thor. Listen, we don't know who voted to him or for and against this, but it seems that 14 have agreed, because I think that's what you need, 14 plus, to get these sort of mandates through. It has gone through for next season. I'm sure in the wash it'll come out as to who voted that they don't have it. But look, I can't see an argument against the 5 rules or 5 subs. You will get people saying, oh, well, they have more quality and they can put more quality on the pitch. Yeah, they can put more quality on the pitch with 3. They can start the game. If you have no subs, they'll have more quality than you. Clubs, I think, need to just focus on themselves and say, this is great. I have 5 options off the bench, and I can use. I think it just helps players, and it helps managers if they're willing to be helped. I think if a manager doesn't want it, it exposes them a little bit for me. But there you go. Hope you're doing well, says Sukhvinder. I am. Massive week ahead. Yeah, massive month ahead. It's non-stop, and we're going to do our best for you. With regards to content, we're going to bring out as many shows as we can across April, whether they're preview shows, full-time Reds, Fatback 4s, winners and losers, midweek fix, Sports Unplugged. Wherever we can, we will bring them out, and we will look after every game, absolutely, before and after every game, and fit in as many shows as we can. We try to take one day off a week, which is usually on a Thursday. We don't usually do a hell of a lot on a Saturday either, but games are going to be on Saturday, so we're going to get stuck in on them as well. Curtis, with regards to James Milner, says, I'd had him nailed down for coaching all if he wants it. In League Cups games in the past, Milner has been on the bench assisting Klopp and Linders. You never know what's going on. He could be working on badges, and he could be working on a position for him. But I think if, I'm not speaking for Jurgen Klopp, but I think if you could look into it and look a bit deeper, I don't know if Jurgen Klopp would like to lose James Milner, like to keep him in some capacity, position there from where he's player coach. Don't even put a player coach name on him. He's still a player, but he's helping more on the coaching, and he's getting into the other side of the game now. And I think he'd be excellent in that sort of role. So it'll be interesting to see, but hopefully something gets sorted out. Let me see. Gav, Klopp said that Diaz tried to give Klopp said Diaz tried to give Klopp information about Benfica. He tried for 10 minutes, but Klopp couldn't understand a word. Listen, I'm sure if Jurgen Klopp needs some information on Benfica, he has loads of people to give it to. And if he wants to get that information of Luis Diaz, I'm sure he can get it translated by somebody, so he'll get the news. But what do we think? Do we think Diaz starts? I think he might. I think he's used to playing in Portugal. He's used to playing against Benfica. He's been really good since he's turned up at Liverpool. Let's be honest, he's been really, really good. And something, I didn't expect to see him against Watford because he's been away with Colombia. He played 2 games. He was disappointing not to get to the World Cup. Comes back, and he's still a newish player at Liverpool. So I didn't expect to see him at the weekend, but I do expect to see him tomorrow night. I expect to see him, and I'm edging towards Bobby and Salah, being honest. But you couldn't argue against Mane and Jota too. Klopp has been asked about Mo again. This time his goal scoring form. Klopp says, for me it's not important. He could pass the ball more, all these things, but that is completely normal in this time of the season. So he's not making too much of it. And there has to be a bit of understanding there as to what Salah's gone through for the national team over the last 3 months or so. And yeah, he'll go through these periods, but what's to say Salah doesn't go and score fucking 10 goals in the next 10 games? It's just the way it is. Gav, is Diaz going to be used for Champions League and Jota for Premier League, says Jamie Harrell? They'll move them around. There's no doubt about it, they'll move them around. But when you look at the options now, centrally, you have Jota can do it, Mane can do it, and Bobby can do it. Left side, Mane. Jota has done it. Diaz has done it. Right hand side, not so much. Salah seems to be the one there. But if he needed to throw Jota there, or he needed to throw Mane, or he needed to throw Diaz there, he could absolutely do it. So there's loads of options there. Because Jota plays the Premier League at the weekend and Diaz looks like he may come back, that's the options you want. That's the options you want. You know, and let him pick his team. I always say, let him pick his team and go with it, because he knows what he's doing. He absolutely knows what he's doing. So I just want, and you will get a really strong Liverpool 11 tomorrow night. Go out, get a positive result. If it's as positive as nearly locking down this tie and having a much easier time of it at Anfield next week, I'm all for it. But if we come out with any sort of positive result, I'm absolutely on it, because I have no worries over Liverpool having to play City at the weekend, then go and play Benfica, and then go and play City. You've seen by the players, even the little snippets that they've said, they know how big a month it is. They know they're all in it together and they're ready. Not one of them has come out and went, oh, tough, it'll be tough. And they're basically saying, yeah, it's big, but bring it on. Absolutely, bring it on. Seen something about Wolves apparently giving Benfica information on us. Well, they're half Portuguese, aren't they? Wolves at this stage. Seen a tweet earlier from a Spurs fan saying they're better off with I can never remember that guy's name. Saying he's a better signing than Diaz. His name has gone completely. I mean, I want to say Kusilevsky, but I could be wrong. He's a really good player. He's a really good player, and I think the deal with Spurs is a loan with an option to buy, providing you're in the top four. If you don't get in the top four, listen, they could still make a bid for him and get him. But I think what he's done so far at Spurs, if Spurs weren't to make the top four, I think there might be a couple of other clubs in England interested in him. I think the likes of Man United could be interested in him. Arsenal could be interested in him. Liverpool, no, I think we have enough options there, unless something happened with Salah. But he's a really good player, and he's put himself in the shop window really, really well. And he can't lose, because if he gets Spurs in the top four, he can go there. He doesn't have to agree to it. He could say, no, I don't want to, of other options. But he's a really good player. But for me, Diaz has been really, really good as well. And sometimes I'm not mad about comparing. I think Diaz has a couple of goals. I think that guy has a couple of goals. Couple of assists, same. That they've really come in and done well in the league, you know, and you have to just say well done to both of them without having to compare them. But Spurs are going to tell you he's a better signing, isn't he? Because Spurs were convinced, absolutely convinced they were signing Luis Diaz. They end up with this guy, and he's been really good. So there you go. Any weird superstitions before or during a game, Gav? I don't wear a home jersey watching Liverpool play. Don't know why. I just don't, says Tiernan. I don't watch the first 5 minutes of finals. That's a definite. It's just a thing I do, and you know, I just don't. Superstitions otherwise. I'll tell you what I don't do. If Liverpool are playing, I'll never open up a scores app. Right? And even if I do open up a scores app and I'm watching Liverpool, I know they're winning, and they could, like, say Saturday, Liverpool are playing, I'm watching it. Okay, there's other games going on. Not in England, you know, there could be other games going on. I think Forest might have played at the same time as Liverpool at the weekend. But just, you know, with scores after you're flicking through while the game's on, who else is playing and stuff like that. I will never check the Premier League table while Liverpool are playing live. Never. So there's a superstition for you. First 5 minutes of finals and scores apps while Liverpool are playing, I never check the league table. So there you go. That might be a bit weird. If anyone else has any of those weird superstitions, throw them in before we finish. 2 likes for 50, apparently, says the Reclaimer. So hit it there. He's settling on 50 today, not 100. So he's lucky. I know. Listen, we're up against a Klopp press conference and all sorts. So that's fair enough. But we do this at 2 o'clock. You're used to a rhythm, and we won't change it from that because you're happy with it. But Gav, that means you missed Salah's penalty in Madrid. That is absolutely correct. I watched the final at home. The game was about to kick off. I walked out of the room. I went outside. I actually went outside the house, and came back in. 5 minutes on the clock. I knew when 5. Obviously, I know when 5 minutes on the fucking clock. 8:05. Came back in, walked the door. I was 1-0 to Liverpool, and I just looked at my wife, and she went, "Yeah, Salah penalty after a minute." And she said, I wasn't going out that door though, because I know you wouldn't come in and look at the screen for 5 minutes. So there you go. Don't watch the first 5 minutes of penalties. Let me see. Anything else there? We were here in 1977, What's for Dinner says. Just to emulate 1977, but this time win the FA Cup and undo 45 years of my personal hurt. Okay, no problem. Do our best. I hate it when we play at 3 p.m. on Saturday afternoon. I'm normally watching another game at the same time, says Curtis J. No, if Liverpool are on, I'm not watching anybody else. But I'll always have the app on. Especially if Liverpool play at 3. You know, there's 4 or 5 Premier League games going on. Who's doing what, how are they getting on, stuff like that. But I'll never check the league table. That's not very lucky for the last 30 years, Gav, says Reclaimer. Yeah, I just don't. Just two things mainly. The live league, I just don't look at. It's just one of those things. So, yeah, that's about it. I don't know if there's anything else. No, I think we're all kind of done. Naby Keita's back in training. Trent's back in training. We look like we have a fully fit squad to head off to Portugal to play Benfica. Couple of transfer links. Don't mind them for the moment. Klopp has made a comment on Salah to say that parties are speaking and that's all he wants. He's not too concerned with his form, and he can't understand the word Luis Diaz says. So there you go. That has been the Kop update. Thanks a million for everyone for joining us today. I completely understand that Liverpool training is on live and press conferences on live, and but you still came and you still watched and you still commented and you still updated me, so I'm absolutely grateful for that. We are back tonight at 10 p.m. with winners and losers. It's myself, Phil, Dicko and Davo. The 3 boys will bring a winner each and a loser each, and if it goes anything like last week, we'll spend 25 minutes just talking about Everton. Veranda Cheese will be on in the chat. Won't be impressed because we're not allowed to talk about Everton when he's on, but we'll see how we get on. I tend to go on a betting site if we are drawing as they're ahead of the live stream, so I get a notification when see the goal 10 seconds later. It's just Ash McCall, really. Talk about Lovren being a knobhead. No, he doesn't deserve it. You know, steer clear of that. Really, really steer clear of it. That's about it. I will talk to you later at 10 p.m. Hope you enjoyed the show. Like on your way out. Subscribe if you haven't already. Share across your social media. Find us, as I said, 40 free shows every month on YouTube and across all your podcast apps. You can get us on our Telegram app if you're a subscriber on YouTube. Community tab. Go down there. I think it's the second post down. Click in there. You register. You can go do it for free. You can give $2.99 a month. That $2.99 a month gets you exactly the same as the free version, but that money will go towards charity. And in there, you can talk with like-minded Liverpool fans, have a nice chat, talk about transfers, talk about anything you want, and have a nice time. That is it. Talk to you in a bit. Over and out.